Number 2, continue from my last video of my top 10 favorite moments in video game moment. I would have to say, would definitely have to be the true introduction to Gray Fox, aka the Ninja, in Metal Gear Solid 1. And when I say the introduction, I mean the hallway scene where he's carving up all those guys like turkeys. Yeah, that one scene pretty much tells you this guy is badass. We gotta and don't tell me I'm gonna have to take this guy on. That guy. And this is an honorable mention that I'm gonna be doing. And this honorable mention is of the ending of a game, one of my favorite game of all time, one of my favorite games of all time. If you've watched my if you've heard me say that God Hand is one of my favorite games, and if you watched my Metrocon video, you already know I'm gonna be cosplaying as Gene from God Hand in it at Metrocon. And I gotta mention this ending as one of my it's an honorable mention. If I did top 11, it would definitely be on the list. It would probably be on my top 10 favorite songs list, this one. 1 second, I'm trying to find it on my phone. But it's definitely the ending credits for God Hand. Ah. Unfortunately, it's giving me a hard time with it. You just heard some of it right there. That song, and mainly because of how tough the game is, makes it that much more rewarding for the game. And for the guys that say, "Oh, God Hand, that game is overly loved, overly hyped," here's the thing: it didn't sell well. And for the people that like the game, you're part of the. If you guys hate the game, all right, your opinion. But that does not mean that God Hand should have been just tossed to the side. I know the sales weren't there, but it's better than centering your gun at the middle of the screen and going bang, bang, bang on every single enemy that just happens to cross the field of vision. And then there's number 1, the opera scene from Final Fantasy VI. Why is this one my favorite moment in video games ever? Mainly due to the fact that the whole opera kept, not only broke up the whole pace of the game, but it also pretty much help signify the change of the symbolic power of the whole game. And when I say the opera, I'm talking about the entire thing, which is 10 minutes long, so I'm just gonna play some of it. It's just that not only that, but the whole graphical and sound I know the graphics for the Super Nintendo weren't that great, but just the sheer power of the music. One second, that was a long video, I think. So, no, at least that was one video that I saw on it. It was just the sheer beauty of the whole opera that helped me choose this one as one of my favorite moments in the game and the whole history of video. And if you recognize this music that's being played from Final Fantasy VII, you can thank Final Fantasy VI's opera theme, which also ended up being Celis's theme as well. I'm just listening to the beauty of the song right now. Think about it like this. It was done with a Super Nintendo, 16-bit. Not very graphically impressive, nor does it sound brilliant compared to music nowadays, which are pretty much all on DVDs and all that. But I want you to think about this. Final Fantasy, the soundtrack for Final Fantasy VI on the Super Nintendo, or Final Fantasy III if you live in the States like I do, but its original name in Japan is 6, actually pretty much helped cement the people in the States for buying Final Fantasy. And it was one of my first Final Fantasy games. I've played a lot more of the Final Fantasy games after that, but you know what? I could see changes that are good and bad in each game after 6. But you know what? They were trying different things, but I still say 6, the opera scene from it, is one of the best moments and one of my favorite moments in gaming of all time. And if you like my opinion, yep. If you don't, whatever. But that's just my opinion, and I want y'all to enjoy the rest of your whatever y'all day is left, and whatever everything else.